All right. Time to dig into these Wikipedia articles on dinosaurs you sent me. I am so ready to geek out with you today.
Yeah, these articles, they really do cover a lot of ground, don't they?
Yeah,
But hey, that's what we're here for, to sort of unearth the coolest stuff.
you got it. And honestly, one thing that blew my mind was how much we've learned about dinosaurs even in the last like couple decades. I mean, I grew up with the classic, lumbering giants, but now we know some were basically like bird-like.
Totally. And that's actually, you hit it. That's like one of the most exciting areas of research right now, figuring out exactly how dinosaurs and birds connect.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have to get to feathers. Oh, and the Anchiornis Huxley discovery. That was huge.
Oh yeah, can't wait for that. But first, I gotta ask, it's the elephant in the room, or well, I guess more like the sauropod in the, you get what I mean, the
Yeah.
size of these things. The article I read mentioned we may never actually know the absolute biggest dinosaur ever. Is that because fossils are so rare?
That's exactly it. Fossilization, it's not exactly common. So everything we know, it's only from this tiny percentage of dinosaurs that ever lived,
Hmm.
right? I mean, think about it. We've got these behemoths like Argentinosaurus, which could be over 100 feet long. Imagine if there were even bigger ones out there we haven't found.
Okay, that's both really cool and kind of scary. Can you imagine just stumbling on a bigger than Argentinosaurus skeleton? Talk about a movie plot. But okay, speaking of skeletons, what about the little guys? I think the article said something about a dinosaur like the size of a pigeon.
Uh-huh, yep. That'd be our friend Anchiornis Huxley. About pigeon-sized, and a really, really important link between dinosaurs and those bird ancestors. Talk about diversity, right? From giants to, well, basically fluffy pigeons.
Don't even get me started on feathers. Seriously, that's the part I'm most ready to dig into. I had no clue feathers weren't just for, flying around.
Oh man, get ready for this. Feathers, they were like the Swiss Army knife for dinosaurs. We're talking insulation, camouflage, attracting mates, and yeah, eventually flight too. And get this, we've even found evidence of color, like vibrant, colorful
But
feathers.
hold on. Color, you're saying it wasn't all just like brown and gray? Okay, give me details. This changes everything.
Yeah, forget those boring museum displays. We're talking like vibrant oranges, iridescent blacks, maybe even some glittery shimmer stuff.
Okay, you're blowing my mind.
Well, how we know this is we found fossilized feathers. And get this, some still have these things called melanosomes, which basically they held the pigment. So scientists can look at them and kind of reconstruct what colors these dinosaurs were sporting.
That is wild. I always pictured like a super drab prehistoric world,
Yeah.
but colorful feathers. Makes you wonder about other stuff. Like the article mentioned dinosaur intelligence, their senses, all that. What about that whole Stegosaurus brain the size of a walnut thing? True or myth?
Yeah, that's a bit of an oversimplification. It's true, their brains were small compared to, the rest of them. But brain size isn't everything, right?
Right.
Like a whale's brain is way bigger than ours, but
Doesn't mean they're writing symphonies.
exactly. So it's about more than just size.
So were A&Y dinosaurs like especially brainy for their time?
Actually, yeah. The article I read mentioned this dino called Trudon. Might have been a contender for smartest dinosaur. Again, not building spaceships here. But it had a bigger brain-to-body ratio than most, and its skull suggests good vision, maybe even really good hearing and smell.
Okay, so some dinosaurs were smarter than the like lumbering oafs we see in old movies, but were they loners or more, I don't know, social butterflies? The articles mention herding behavior, which is kind of mind-blowing for these giant creatures.
It's true, the solitary dinosaur idea, it's changing all the time. Like sauropods, we always thought they were these lone giants, but now we're finding trackways that show them moving in herds, maybe even different species hanging out together.
Seriously, I can't even get a group text going with like 4 people. But what about carnivores? Were there any social predators? Like those velociraptors we see in the movies, hunting in packs?
Now that's where things get really interesting. There was this super cool fossil found in the Gobi Desert, a velociraptor, right in the middle of a fight with a protoceratops.
No way.
Yeah. And some scientists think maybe this means the velociraptor was part of a pack that was trying to take down this much larger dinosaur.
Wait, a velociraptor going after something that much bigger? That's either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. But is one fossil enough to, like, confirm pack hunting?
It's a good clue,
But-
but you're right, it's not definitive proof.
Yeah.
Think of it this way. Just because you see 2 squirrels fighting over a nut doesn't mean all squirrels are in little gangs battling for territory.
Yeah.
We need more evidence to know for sure if pack hunting was common.
So, the jury's still out on dinosaur gangs. Makes sense. But okay, there's another big question we haven't touched on yet. The extinction event. What can you tell us about the end of the dinosaur era?
Ah, yes. The KPG extinction event, or what we used to call the KT extinction. Basically, this massive event happened about 66 million years ago and wiped out not just the non-avian dinosaurs, but a huge amount of life on Earth. Still a major puzzle for scientists today, figuring out exactly how it all went down.
So we're talking about like a planet-wide extinction event.
Right.
What actually caused it? I mean, everyone's heard about the asteroid, but the article mentioned other stuff too.
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't just one bad day for the dinos.
Yeah.
Yeah, the asteroid, the one that smacked into what's now the Yucatan Peninsula, that was huge. Literally, we're talking mega tsunamis, wildfires on a continental scale, dust blocking out the sun, temperatures plummeting.
Sounds like the end times, really.
Pretty much. But you're right, that wasn't all. There were these massive volcanic eruptions happening around the same time, too. The Deccan Traps.
Yeah, the article mentioned those. What were they
What?
exactly?
So, picture this. Massive volcanic eruptions spewing out lava and gases like tons of sulfur dioxide for thousands of years. That alone messes with the climate, cools things down. So you've got this double whammy effect, asteroid impact, volcanic eruptions. Rough time to be a dinosaur.
I mean, you gotta wonder, what if that asteroid had, like, missed? Would dinosaurs still be around today?
Who knows? It's
Huh?
fun to think about. But some scientists think even without the asteroid, dinosaurs were already dealing with a lot of changes. Sea levels, climate. The asteroid might have just been like the final nail in the coffin, so to speak.
A world with dinosaurs, but no humans. Okay, that's a whole other podcast. But before we go too far down that rabbit hole, one more thing. The articles mention two main dinosaur groups, Saurischia and Ornithischia. What's the difference?
It's all in the hips,
Mm.
literally. Saurischian dinosaurs, like your long-necked sauropods and the carnivorous theropods, they had hips that were kind of lizard-like, with the pubis bone pointing forward.
Mm.
Ornithischians, their pubis bone pointed backward, more like, well, birds.
Wait, bird-like hips. But I thought birds evolved from theropods, which had the lizard hips. It's confusing.
Evolution's got a weird sense of humor, right?
Right.
So yeah, birds came from the Saurischian theropods, but those bird-like hips in ornithischians, that happened separately. It's called convergent evolution, where two totally different groups end up with similar features, usually because it works well for their environment or lifestyle.
Wow, that's so cool. It's amazing. The more we learn about dinosaurs, the more complex they become.
I know, right? That's what I love about paleontology. Every new discovery is like rewriting the textbooks, you know? These creatures were incredible.
Well, I've definitely learned a ton today, that's for sure. From colorful feathers to, like, dino intelligence and, of course, that massive extinction event. Any last words of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap things up?
If you're into dinosaurs, even a little bit, don't stop learning. Read books, visit a museum, even just keep clicking those Wikipedia links. There's so much out there to explore. You never know what you'll discover.
Absolutely. Keep those brains buzzing and never lose that curiosity. Until next time, happy exploring, everyone.